PJNet.TV Part 2. It is 9:30 Eastern Time in the United States. It is time for Del Didway. We are recording, we are streaming, we have Del Didway standing by, the chat room is waiting. We are switching to Studio 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to PJNet.TV. I'm Coach Prasick, and I am your host. It is my honor to sit here in the corner so that we can call attention to our next guest. Worth it. But we do want to invite you to join the fellowship in the live chat. Just go to pjnet.tv. You can watch the same thing and enjoy the fellowship. So, I'm getting a message. Okay, and we have lost sound according to my associate producer. So, it's back now. Nope, we're good. We're good. These things happen. Anyway, so before it happens again, let's switch over, and Del Didway, he's coming in a little hot tonight. He wasn't in the chat room earlier. Del, you were a little indisposed until just moments ago.
Well, I was just at a local political meeting that I have to go to every month, so we just had to leave it a little early to get here on time.
Okay. Is your blood pressure okay?
Those are always fun meetings.
Okay. Well, Del, you blog at deldidway.com. Let me put that up on the screen. Do not attempt to spell that phonetically, but there is where you can find Del's weekly blog. And you did it was a little bit of a teaser for your upcoming book, but at the same time, it gives us an insight into not only what your next book is about, Del, but your overall ministry, your purpose, your assignment, and your mission. And you find these players. How did you identify? I don't even remember his name. What?
DeMar Dotson. He plays. Now he's a free agent. He was playing for Tampa Bay for the last several years.
Yeah.
But
he's 6'7", 315 pounds. I just can't remember his name. Wears a size 18 shoe.
He's a big guy. So when Tampa Bay came to town, I a day or so prior to the games, I do a little bit of research about who I want to talk to. If there's anybody on the opposing team that I want to talk to, and he was, on his Twitter account, on his Facebook account, had positive things posted and some scripture posted. So that's a good indication that I can talk to him. If they're open, if they're willing to put things like that on their social media accounts, then they'll probably talk to me about it. Not always the case, but with him, he was very willing to talk to me. Again, it's tough sometimes with these players who play in the NFL because I don't have access to them until after the game is over. And one of those players doing after the game, they want to get in and get out. They don't want to talk to me. So, he was there to stall. He just got out of the shower. He was getting dressed. And I said, I saw this on your Twitter post. Can I talk to you about your faith? He said, well, sure, let's talk. So, I think once you approach them that way, they're very open to talk, and I try to get them when nobody else is around, bugging their time. So,
right.
So I don't have, it's not like baseball where I have not unlimited time, but I have a good amount I have a few hours.
Right.
Here in an NFL locker room, I have a few minutes.
Is there a difference, or have you noticed a difference if they have won or lost? Does that have an impact on your interview?
It has not. In fact, there's been times when that's just been the case where this team loses, and I'll go up to a player who, if they've lost, and say, I'll introduce myself and I say, I know this is not a good time. You guys just lost, but this is my only chance to talk to you. You come here one time a year.
But it's Cincinnati, so the chances of that happening are kind of distant.
Well, no. So they realize that. And I just tell them, I've got one chance to talk to you, and can we talk about this? And most of them say sure. Yeah, and most of these guys realize that it's not they're still going to get paid a lot of money. They're still going to be able to go home to their families. So it's not like it was, when Vince Lombardi coached and Dick Butkus played. There's more reality that this is a job. We didn't do well tonight. We got beat, but you know what? I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still blessed. So sure, I'll talk to you. Now, some of them don't do that. I mean, you got your, the most infamous little temper tantrum I've ever seen in my life was when Cam Newton and the Panthers lost the Super Bowl, and he put his towel over his head in the press conference and wouldn't talk to anybody. I mean, he was just a great big crybaby. He didn't consider the fact that he makes billions of dollars and he can't talk, can't make a sentence. So most of these guys realize that, they don't like to lose. It's not in their DNA. They're there to win, but it's not always going to happen. And if they can take that moment and talk about their faith a little bit, then it's okay. Life's okay.
This is a big guy, but you approached him cold, basically.
Oh, yeah. I approached all these guys cold. Yeah, I have to. I can't call him ahead of time. I just walked up to him after the game. He was getting dressed, and he just got out of the shower, was back at his stall getting dressed, and you just walk up to him, and you wait till they get dressed. So,
yeah, he's got the towel around his waist and dripping wet.
Yeah, there's some common sense involved, and so you some of them I'm able to get to them beforehand and say, hey, can I have a couple of minutes when you're done? Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll talk to you, and it's fun because they don't get asked that a lot. They don't get to talk about their faith a lot. So the ones who do enjoy it really enjoy it, and it's kind of refreshing for them because they don't have to talk about the game. They don't have to talk about a certain play.
Right.
They get to talk about things they enjoy to talk about, and he gave a really interesting story to me about when he signed with Tampa. So it was kind of an unusual story. I'll probably never hear that one again from anybody. So it's kind of unusual and kind of put a little spin on it. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of promoting the book for now, but it's just kind of, that won't be out till next year. So it's a long way off, but a little pressed for time. And I kind of like that story. So I thought I'd just throw in a little snippet of that book.
Well, he's a big guy, and he wears a size 18 shoe. Now, as I was reading this, I actually have a cousin that followed kind of a similar path. Mm-hmm. He actually got a scholarship at Tennessee to play basketball and wound up being drafted by the then Boston Patriots.
Yeah, wow, it was a long time ago. He made
$25,000 a year back then, and he thought that's a lot of money.
Now DeMar wasn't drafted at all. In fact, he told me he never played football in his life until his senior year of college, and he had a year of eligibility left. He's a good athlete, so he went to the football coach and said, "Hey, I'd like to play." And he said they kind of scoffed at him at first because he'd never played in his life, but they gave him a shot. He played 3 or 4 games for Mississippi State there that year, and his size and ability attracted the eyes of scouts, and so he was not drafted. But he told me his prayer was, he says, "I want one team to give me a shot, one team." And lo and behold, he got a call from Tampa Bay, the one team, inviting him down to a workout with no guarantees. And so again, as the blog pointed out, he thought it was going to be indoors, so he didn't take any cleats. And he took his basketball shoes, and so he gets there, and he's told to go outside and get on the field, and he didn't have any cleats, and so he tried to find some, and the trainer or the equipment manager was kind of rude to him and found a pair of shoes that was 2 sizes too small, but that's all he had, so he ended up putting them on, having a rough time. Second practice, he told me he had to cut out the toes so he could put them on. And he said he kept getting stepped on and his toes were bleeding. And he said he did horrible. But he said the next day, he said, you know what, I'm going to go with my old shoes, what I brought down. Mm-hmm. And he said he really did well. And they, soon after that offered him a contract. And he played with them. He's been with Tampa for several years. It wasn't just a fly-by-night. He was a starting offensive tackle for several years with Tampa Bay.
You would think somebody that's that tall would be a receiver.
Well, he's a big guy. He's 315 pounds. So,
Yeah,
he's
not the
big
speediest.
Guy.
Yeah.
So, but he was, everybody said he was real agile, real good athlete because he played college basketball. Mm-hmm. But he didn't have a future. He told me he didn't have a future in basketball. He was good, but he couldn't go to the next level. But he could go to the next level in football. So, That's what he enjoyed and loved. That's what he's done for the past several years. But his story was, he prayed. He said, "I asked God, give me one team, just one team to give me a shot." He didn't ask for that shot. He just asked for that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And the take on that is, God may grant you that opportunity, but it's up to you to just do something with it and use the tools that He gives you. Like, for instance, his shoes. When he put on the shoes he took, he did well. So use what God gives you. Don't try to find something else. If you get the opportunity, take advantage of it. God does answer prayer, and I think I pointed out. You could pray for 5 new cars tomorrow.
And God
probably
can
won't
do that.
happen. It could probably won't happen.
He could,
but you have to have faith, and you have to trust in it. So don't ever be discouraged about situations that you might not do well in, because you're in it for a reason.
Dale, one of the first lessons that I learned very early on serving in disaster relief is, right now I care not what we can't do with what we don't have. What matters right now, I always phrased it right now. It does matter later. We'll have a meeting after this is over. But right now, all that matters is, what are we going to do with what we do have? Yeah. The account of Gideon comes to mind. Yeah. Taking over an enemy camp by crushing clay pots and sounding alarm.
Yeah. We need something like that today, I think, out in the world right now. So things are going downhill fast. But yeah, I mean, it all goes back to, trust and faith, and not everything's going to work out for you. But you got to trust that it will, and you got to do what you think's best. So,
it takes faith and obedience. As I was reading that and hearing you talk now, every time God did something miraculous, He called upon the beneficiary to do something in faith. And I'm thinking about parting of the Red Sea. He required Moses to stretch out his rod. Mm-hmm, now listen, God needed no help from Moses. Mm-hmm. But if I'm pretty sure, I'm very sure, that would Moses not have been obedient? No, they would have perished. Jesus, when He healed people, he spat on the ground and rubbed this mud, said, go do something, go do something. Yeah. So many of us pray, but we're not doing. And in the pro-life movement, this is so important, because we can pray. We should pray. But we got to put some feet to it.
Yeah, you got to do something about it. You got to call legislators. You got to vote. You have to educate yourself. You have to be vigilant. You have to persuade other people. You have to donate your money and your time. It's not just, prayer is one thing. Yeah, but electing pro-life people is the key, and working for those people is the key to get them in office, because it does matter. When President Trump puts in pro-life judges, it matters. Mm-hmm. And that's just a great example of that. We've taken part in the National March for Life, and we're involved. So yeah, the pro-life movement, you have to be involved. You can pray. That's the first thing you need to do. But the next thing you need to do is you need to vote. You need to vote for pro-life candidates, and you need to, if you don't know who they are, then you contact your state Right to Life organization and say, hey,
it's not hard to figure out.
Who do you endorse? Mm-hmm. And I can say this boldly right now: if you are a Democrat, the Democrat platform has it verbatim in their word. We support Roe versus Wade. Mm-hmm. You cannot be a Democrat and claim to be pro-life, because they don't support that in the platform. They're very vocal about it. They're very open about it. If you go to the Democrat convention and say you're pro-life, they will run you out of there, because they are pro-death.
They disguise it under words like reproductive health care.
Well, yeah, they've played on people's emotions for a long time and disguised it as health care and a choice. It's not a choice. You don't have a choice. No. That baby doesn't have a choice. So why should you? The greatest quote ever in the pro-life movement was from Ronald Reagan, when he said, "I've noticed that everybody who's for abortion has already been born." Mm-hmm. And there's no comeback for that one. You cannot there's just no way. That just shuts you up
Well,
right
it's
there.
my body, my choice. Well, I would not support any legislation. Dell, if you want to cut your finger off, go right ahead.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a good idea, but I wouldn't oppose you.
They always claim that my body, my choice, but what have you heard the last 2 months? Well, you have to wear a mask. Well, no, I don't. I don't have to wear a mask, and I'm not going to wear a mask. I will not live in fear because the left liberal mobs want you to wear a mask. I'm not doing it. So I was at the hospital a week and a half ago. They told me to put on a mask. I looked around. There was nobody, not one single person in that waiting room. I said, if you ask me nicely, I might consider it. But you told me to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I didn't.
I won't do it at point of sword.
No. So this is America. I don't have to wear it. If I'm inconsiderate, if there had been people in that waiting room, I might have considered it. If they would have asked me, I might have considered it. But she handed me the mask, put this on. I said, no. This is the United States of America. I have a choice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
You got it.
So I did.
Yeah, I went to the dentist today, and everybody's dealing with this a little different. First of all, I want to commend the dentist,
Yes.
for continuing his practice. I mean, he's sitting there, I mean, that's a if there's a high risk environment, that would be one of them. Okay. But what they did is same thing at the veterinary clinic I took the dogs in. You call and they answer, but you wait in the car and they take one person in at a time.
And the vet, really?
Well, in fact, at the vet, you don't go in at all. They come get your dog. But the dentist, you call in, and then they call you, and then they take one person in at a time. Everybody's in the parking lot, And,
I understand.
And I'll accommodate them, but I'm like you, Dell. If I'm a little bit too much of a scientist, it was best explained to me. This is in just good old street language. We are most likely wearing 2 masks over our bottom side. And if somebody in the room passes gas, in spite of the 2 masks, they did. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
I am tickled at the narrative. You see all of these. Well, there's a difference between a demonstration and a riot, but in both cases, you've got a lot of people crowded up, and I don't see them intervening in the name of coronavirus. You got to disperse this crowd. Y'all got to stay 6 foot apart now.
No, the riots have killed the virus, so it doesn't exist anymore. So
well, the murder hornets didn't work, so we're gonna move on to the next problem. It seems Trump's in trouble again for 2 things, folks, I don't. Trump's not my. I would never vote for him as deacon of the church. Okay, I wouldn't. But I was impressed that he's willing and forceful, leading, saying we'll use the military to break this up. But then he used a Bible in a photo op, and boy, is he catching heat for that. And I think that
he's catching heat from liberal leftists who don't believe in God. And Franklin Graham has called President Trump the most evangelical president he's ever seen. So, at this point, I might vote for him for a deacon, because what he's doing, he's done more for the evangelical Christian movement than any other president has ever done in my existence. He did more than Bush. He did way more than Clinton, Obama, George Bush. He did more than Reagan, and Reagan was great. So for Franklin Graham to say this man is the most evangelical supporter of Christians of any president ever speaks volumes. He backs Jerusalem openly, backs Israel.
He had
So
to do what everybody talked about, just never did.
I've got a couple of people in my church who just lambaste on him because of some things that's been alleged in his past. So what? He is the most powerful man in the world. He's doing the best job I've ever seen. I think it's hard to top Reagan, but by golly, Trump's almost there in 4 years. And I think what yesterday was a symbolic march that we're going to take this street back. We're going to take this city back and this district back, and I'm going to uphold the power of God to do it. So CNN and those rags, said, "Oh yeah, they used tear gas just for a photo op." You know what? The same Bill Clinton was stood in front of that same church and raised his Bible, and there was a picture taken. Nancy Pelosi recently had a picture taken with the Bible, and I mean, I'm surprised she didn't burn right there when she held it. But now President Trump uses that as a symbol. Some goofball priest on CNN he was ashamed, and so I responded and I said, you know what, I expected this position from you because you're at CNN, and so it represents the power of God. It was a symbolic gesture when he walked across Pennsylvania Avenue over to the church. So it was heroic, it was inspirational, and it was uplifting, because he realizes that the only way we're going to win this is with God and with our military.
Well, and I think Winston Churchill pointed out that the easiest thing in the world to do is sit on the sidelines and criticize those who are out on the field doing it. And put it this way, would he had not had that Bible, they would have found something else to criticize him for.
Well, that happened just as I was coming home. I forget her name. She's a bishop. She said, "Well, he stood there. He didn't pray. He didn't acknowledge the crowd." You know, it wouldn't matter. The left liberal mob doesn't care. They don't care. And what's happening now, Coach, as you're seeing, the monster they created, they cannot control anymore. They've created the Antifa. They've supported the Antifa. Now it's out of control and they can't stop it. There's a mob right now heading toward the governor's mansion in New York right now. So they're going after him, the one who praised them. So it's not going to get any better until action's taken. And President Trump's actions right now, I totally support him.
I saw the phrase from, I think it was CNN, but whoever, doesn't matter, that Trump has declared war on the American people.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. What is this going on in the streets? If that's not war, what is it? Buildings are burning. People are getting killed. He's intervening to restore order. Now, the litmus test will be, let's say for a moment that Trump, and if anybody would do it, he would, sends in the military to impose order. Okay, now here's the litmus test. Once order is restored, do they back out, pull back, and turn it?
You don't. You keep the pressure on. Keep the gas pedal on.
Well, I would hope, that it doesn't become an occupying force. Okay,
has to be for a while.
For how long? One of the things I studied American imperialism. If we were an imperialist, aggressive, colonizing entity, why did we leave? We dominated Europe, yet we left. We only took as much land as we needed to bury our dead. I mean, the people of France, we left. We liberated and left. Mm-hmm. So I think the litmus test will be how long. Now, we may disagree on how long is too long, but the point is that to make it a statement in the national media to the effect that Trump has declared war, do you feel like that you are a combatant against the United States military in our own country? I don't feel that way.
I feel like I'm a combatant against the leftist socialist Democrats. Mm-hmm. I think they're trying to ruin this country. And again, if anybody listening to this or watching this is Democrat, you really need to search your soul, because they don't have one.
I think it's going to backfire. I'm just hoping and praying that the majority. There was a day when you might be in church sitting next to a Democrat. There wasn't that much difference.
That ain't going to happen anymore.
Yeah. Used to be they stood the JFK type Democrats, that was for the average guy, the farmer, the gun toter, and so forth. So I admire not only his leadership, but his bravery.
Well,
I mean, he actually does the things that everybody talks about. He just does it, and he takes all the heat, and I don't think he cares anymore.
our former president, our past president, said that we cling to our guns and our Bible. So that's the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That's the Socialist Party. The Democrat Party's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And it's sad. And you're seeing them. They're afraid right now because, again, the monster they created that's running the streets right now and causing the havoc, they created, and they can't control it now.
Interesting observation. I haven't thought about that. And it'll be interesting as that unfolds. Well, Dale, we're out of time. I could go on and on. I guess we're not going to solve it. Did you notice that there's some church leadership emerging that is actually going into these places after the riot and actually serving the communities, trying to rebuild, trying to show love? You reckon it's going to matter?
No, you can't show them love. You have to show them force.
Okay.
That's just how it is.
It's a bad situation.
Yeah, it's tough to show somebody love when they're just killing 77-year-old police officers and they're beating old women. You can't show them love. You have to show them what they only know, and that's force.
Well, and you're meeting force with force. You didn't start it. You responded to it and ended.
And Trump didn't start this, but he's going to end it.
Yeah. I hope that it's funny because last night I was just grieving. I've not met anyone or seen anything anywhere applauding this policeman's brutality.
No, he's been arrested and charged. Justice is working. The system's working,
right.
But that's not enough for thugs.
Right. We agree. Why the conflict? We agree.
Because it's a reason. It's a reason to loot and pillage and burn because that's what they've been brainwashed for years from the Democrats. That's all they know to do. And then they've woken up. Hey, this is our time now. And now their masters cannot control them.
Interesting. All right, well, Dale.
And I hope this doesn't get me banned from Twitter.
Well, yes. Yeah, let's wrap up because I want to share some things that are going on, and that may take a couple of minutes. But Dale, thanks for sharing with us. Appreciate your blogs. Appreciate the uplifting and inspirational message and the ministry that you're engaged in. Because folks, we need that. We need, especially right now, we need some heroes to emerge in love. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Appreciate you, Dale. See you next time.
We'll see you next week.
All right, bud. All right, Dale Didway right here on pjnet.tv. Again, let me spend a few moments. I know it's a little bit late, but let me spend a few moments sharing with you. Again, I want to thank all of you that have written emails, that have called me, that have contacted me in numerous ways. I have found out that there was actually a prayer meeting earlier today, and I was in part the subject matter of the prayer. I have a tooth that has gotten infected. Last night I was fevered and chilled and and did manage to get an appointment with the dentist today. And what we're going to do, he prescribed me two things. One, some antibiotics to get the infection under control. Number two, some hydrocodone, which I spent all afternoon trying to find a pharmacy that had some. So as soon as we get off the air here, I will be popping one of those and will, for the first time, get some sleep. Since Friday, I've really only slept about an hour. But thank you all. Your encouragement strengthens me, and I appreciate your patience. It's hard for me to move forward. On the phone company, we had an order due May the 26th that didn't happen. It was then due June the 1st and didn't happen. It was then due today, June the 2nd, and didn't happen. I'm going to call them again. Well, I don't know. It's the definition of insanity. The reason that we are doing this is not just to have more horsepower in the name of testosterone. The purpose is so that we can have two guests on stage at the same time. Okay, we have several parties interested in that are working in tandem with one another. As a pair, and they would like to become part of the program here. But right now, we don't have the facilities to carry that much weight. So that is the purpose of what we're doing. Sorry that we're having so much trouble implementing it. Sorry we're having to spend more money than it's really worth, but we are going in faith to move ahead and do this. But eventually, I guess we will get those facilities, right? Something like that. Twitter. Many of you know that for reasons that I literally have no idea, Wednesday evening last week, Twitter suspended my account. Now, it's kind of, normally I would say, so what, because Twitter had been sort of a thud here recently. But especially Dell, when he did, he was getting hundreds of views of the live program that was streamed. So I can't stream that anymore. All right, but I had an idea, and I want to share this with you. And if any of you want to contact me, here's an idea. We could set up one of those go-to-meeting type meetings where you could take control of my keyboard, mouse, and screen, and you could log in using my computer to log in, and then I could log in to the streaming service, and we could literally opt you in to where this broadcast would be streamed on your Twitter account or even your Facebook account as well, if you'd like. And I'm wondering, would that be a viable alternative? Because they could suspend all of us, but we would have more outlets. And of course, I can't say for certain, but who knows, that could lead to your account being suspended too. If that's the problem, I don't know. But if any of you are willing to volunteer your Twitter and or Facebook account, maybe we could set it up in sort of a group meeting, and you could literally take control of my computer. We'll work out the mechanics. I don't want you to give me your password on Twitter. Okay, I don't do that. But you can temporarily take control of my computer, so you can log into your own Twitter account and then tell the streaming app that I'll log into, and we could stream this out to 10 or 15 destinations on Twitter and Facebook. That'd be kind of interesting. They suspended my account and multiplied the impact. That would be kind of a revenge. Is that a good word for it? So much good is going on. Looking forward to tomorrow night. If you go to pjnet.tv, which is what I am doing right now, Barbara, Sunbelt Girl, when you click that schedule page, she maintains that. Tomorrow is the 3rd. We have, for the first time, Jackie Anders. She'll be on at 9, and of course then Michelle Medlock Adams will be our guest. Thursday, Ken Edwards and J.D. Winninger, and Friday, as always, Steve Hazards will have it. In any event, that's what's coming up. Hope you will, do this. We've got the best kept secret on the internet here. Make an effort to invite, if you're enjoying this, maybe your friends would enjoy it as well. And it would be nice if we could get more people in the chat room, have even more fellowship. So, we've gone kind of long, and I appreciate you all long suffering and patience and indulgence, or maybe you just didn't have anything better to do. Oh, I meant to tell you, the tooth, once we clear the infection up, we have set an appointment for Thursday the 11th to extract the tooth. It's not worth fixing. Just pull it. So it's going to be kind of interesting Thursday night. Not sure how that's going to work. I can almost assure you I won't be talking very much. But we'll make it all happen. So, folks, it's time for me to kind of head for the roundhouse where they can't corner me, pop a hydrocodone, and try to do, if the highlight videos look a little goofy, now you know why. Before I leave, I'd seriously like to ask you a couple of questions, not to answer me, but to challenge yourself. The first question is, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And the second question is, just how long ago was that? The challenge that I hope you'll accept is to never be satisfied with either answer.